Hey guys, what's up? In today's video, we're going to feature the Henson AL13 Aggressive Razor. Coming right up. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's video. There have been a bunch of new subscribers to the channel lately, so I'd welcome you all. And also, if you haven't done so already, please consider becoming a subscriber and don't miss out on any new videos. I'm really excited to bring you today's video as we finally have in hand the Henson AL13 Aggressive Safety Razor. Now, the AL13 Aggressive Razor is actually part of a special order that we were able to put together, and I'll get more into that in just a little bit. But first, let me talk a bit about today's setup, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, as well as my actual impressions of the razor. First up, for the razor blade, it's one made from RK and actually was made to Henson specifications. So these razor blades were packed in with the AL13 and are now readily available, I believe, on Henson's website as well as some online vendors. Next up, for my shaving brush, it's one from Trotter Handcrafts. This is a very special pour as it is the sibling brush from my recent Instagram 3K giveaway. It's got some awesome swirls of red, white, and blue, and it was nicknamed Megalodon by Paul over at Trotter, but I think it actually really reminds me of my favorite superhero, Spider-Man. As for my soap today, we're going with Opuntia by Saponificio Varesino. And this one actually was inspired by a friend of the channel, Sloppy Badger, over on Instagram. John used some SV soaps and I was inspired to do some because it's been a while. I think it's been over a year since I last used this one. For those curious, Opuntia has a passing resemblance to Creed Aventus. I would say it is truly inspired by where Aventus was the starting point, but they kind of did their own riff on it. It's a really enjoyable, pleasant scent. It's a little bit on the fruitier side as opposed to smoky. There's not really too much smokiness, maybe a little woodiness, if anything, but overall great scent. And last but not least, for my post-shave, we're going to use Ariana and Evans Unscented Rice Water Serum. Just a nice product, a little bit on the thinner side. It has some great moisturizing properties, and in general, for the warmer weather, I like to use thinner products as opposed to thicker aftershave bombs. Next, I'd like to do a brief recap and share a little bit about the backstory of how this razor came together. Back in February, we had the pleasure of having Daniel Jantzi, the CEO of Henson Shaving, on for the Lather Talk podcast. It was a great conversation, and during the talk, I had a chance to kind of throw it out there if they would be open to doing the aggressive plate for the aluminum razor. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with Henson Shaving and their razors, they offer the AL13, which is an aluminum razor, and it comes with either a mild or medium base plate option. Again, this is aluminum, super light. It comes in a number of different colors. They anodize it in-house now, I believe. But overall, a very mild, dare I say, gentle razor, something that actually be really good for someone just getting into wet shaving or double-edged safety razors. And the other razor they offered was the titanium one, which also had the mild and medium base plate options, but also had the triple plus base plate option, also known as the aggressive base plate. And in that same podcast episode, Daniel explained that they just wanted to keep the purchasing process very simple, and the fact that they're heavily targeting new wet shavers, they didn't want to run into the problem where someone would be picking up a base plate that's not exactly for them. Whatever the reason, he was open to making a special run of the aggressive base plates with the aluminum razor for Lather Talk and our listeners. So shortly after that podcast published, I created a sign-up sheet for just anyone interested in a Henson aluminum aggressive razor. And overall, I would say things came together pretty quickly as it is the beginning of May. As I record this, I have the razor in hand. I've had 2 shaves with it, and other people have started to receive theirs as well. So you might be seeing more videos or shave the days with this razor pop up. In the end, we had about 150 people on the sign up list. I'm not sure if that's enough to convince Henson to make this a regular offering, but I would say if there's interest, and I do apologize that the ordering process is closed, but if you are interested and you want this to be a thing, I would definitely reach out to Henson, and they have the capabilities of doing it. And I think if there's enough demand, this could be a permanent offering. Now, my previous experience with the Henson razors, I've had the pleasure of using them all. The mild and medium aluminum razors I had a chance to use through a West Coast shaving pass around, and I was able to use the titanium Henson razor courtesy of fellow YouTuber and friend of the channel, Marion the Barbarian. So taking those past experiences in mind, this is actually the first razor from Henson that I have personally owned. Now, first up, when it came in the mail, I noticed the revised packaging. It is now much slimmer, uses less paper. It's quite attractive, really. Although I do have to mention that my particular box didn't really fare so well on the way to me in the shipping process. Now, I know these things can happen, and I got in touch with my contact over at Henson right away with the suggestion that the razor probably should be placed in another sturdier box within the padded envelope. And as an apology for the damaged packaging, they actually made things right by sending over to me a 100-pack of their RK blades, which I didn't specifically ask for, but I appreciate the motion all the same. At the end of the day, the packaging does not contribute to the shave. However, I can appreciate if some time and thought has been put into the packaging, the look and presentation of a product. So the razor itself did survive the shipping process. It didn't have any dings or scratches, or nothing was bent or out of place. So how did the AL13 Triple Plus handle in its first few shaves? Well, first off, I want to mention that there was much more blade feel than I remembered. And it could be totally on account of using the packaged RK blade. Again, this is a blade that was made to Henson's specifications. It was a very sharp blade, and in general, blades fall into two categories for me. Either they're more sharp or they're more smooth. That one had less blade feel, and honestly, it actually wasn't as good as a shave. I actually nicked myself on the chin. So that's not a matter of sharpness, but just the overall feel of it. I like the sharper feel of the RK blade in the AL13 Aggressive. The blade feel with the RK blade was also more than what I've experienced with any blade I've used in the Overlander by Carve and the Charcoal Goods Level 2. Two razors which I would say are low blade feel and high, medium to high efficiency. And as far as efficiency goes, these shaves were also more efficient than what I remembered with the titanium razor. I was quite impressed, as even after 24 hours, I still didn't have as much beard growth as I normally have had with my typical razors. Usually there's not a huge difference in different blades I use in any particular razor, but so far with this AL13 Aggressive, I'm finding that the right pairing can really affect your shave and your results. And obviously whatever that optimal shave is going to be different for everyone. So I've got to test my regular blades. I'm thinking off the top of my head here, Gillette Silver Blue, Rapira Platinum Luxe, Gillette Nasset, just to name a few. And I'll report back and see how those fit. In the end, my prediction is that the RK blade might be the best one, at least for my taste, but it should provide some fun to see how each blade performs in this razor. I also need to mention that typically aluminum is not for me as a material in razors. It's just a tad too light. I feel like I want a little bit more, just a little bit more weight, not necessarily a lot. And that's one thing that I'm also getting used to. I think I probably gave myself some nicks, even some weepers in the shave. I'm definitely still trying to figure out the right amount of pressure to put, if anything, not to dig in too much because of the lightness. Yeah, so those are my initial impressions of the Henson Aluminum Aggressive razor. Now, if you are watching this and you also got one of these razors, I'd love to hear from you. What have you been experiencing in your shave? The razor blade thing, even as far as blade feel and efficiency, how has that worked out for you? Please let me know in the comments below. Overall, this has been a great experience from start to finish. Thank you again to Daniel and for everyone over at Henson Shaving for making this special run of razors possible. I also want to thank you, the viewer, for joining me for today's shave. I hope you found the information helpful. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Today's video was made possible in part by our wonderful patrons. For more information about our Patreon, check out patreon.com/lathertalk. You can also check out our Etsy store and pick up a comfy Lather Talk t-shirt or coffee mug. Find all the links down below.